back. Welcome penzi mtazamaji hapa kwenye Nuru ya Asubuhi. This is Family and Elders Day, and our topic of discussion is the elderly in the society. We want to understand more about them. How can we be of help? How can we be a blessing to them, just as they are a blessing? And as Tr Trizzah said, they're not a burden. They are a blessing. And so we are handling this in 5 areas: the individual level, family level, society, the church, and Kenya, the country at large, because I know so many of you are watching and you're in high profile places, so I'm sure hapo utasaidia zaidi when you get to hear this. And so we have in studio with us a Tr Trizzah Simon, who is a pastor and also a life coach. Let's continue with our discussion of today. Karibu tena.
Asante.
And thank you for helping us understand that these people are not a burden, but they are a blessing. Yes. To each one of us. Yes. Na siku itafika, utaishi baby girl forever. Utazeka siku moja. And whatever you are doing to them, sipochunga, utafanyiwa pia wewe hivyo.
But maybe, before we continue, it's important to say for those of us who, kama ulipata Coca-Cola kwa kreti ya mbao, and you saw the original Kasuku. I think it's also important for us now that we are able to see what is happening in the community. I think it is important for us to start making provision for ourselves in old age.
Oh, okay.
Start working towards what kind of a life would you want to live at 80. I've seen a few people who have been able to do that, and they have comfortable lives. Yet even then, there comes a time when you cannot take care of yourself. Somebody else has to. But I think we also need to think about our old age, provide for ourselves for the old age. Scriptures say that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children.
Yes.
But sometimes we find that you have nothing to leave.
You have even nothing for yourself.
You have even nothing for yourself.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's just because of how life is. The kind of cards that life deals you. Maybe you spent all your money educating your children and taking... Okay, there are those who misuse. But of course, there are some very genuinely people who spent a very good life and used their money well as far as expenditure was concerned. And did good investments. I would say, especially if your parents paid school fees for you, well, I think they would have eaten mandazi if they wanted to.
They sacrificed.
Or built rental houses that would be bringing income. So it's good manners for you to take care of them. But it's also good manners for those of us now who are aging. Watu tunafika 5th floor. Please start arranging yourself. Yes.
Awesome. And now we've talked about the individual, the family. Now let's come to the society. Maybe hata uishi karibu, maybe your biological grandparent ako mbali, but now kuna grandma kwa hapo karibu. As a society, as a community,
maybe I would want to say this: the elderly are a very interesting lot. And if you're in the neighborhood, they actually don't expect much from you in terms of, because when people think of the elderly, they think in terms of money. There's something more precious than money that you can give to the elderly around you, and it is called time. I imagine that I go home and my dad can speak for 6 hours.
He had missed that.
Yes. So I think one of the things that people in the immediate society can do is provide time. Just time to hang out with the elderly. And number 2, involve them in what is happening in the village. There is a mamborezi, there is a church service, involve them. Let them be there. There is a fellowship, those of us, involve them. Let them get involved. Because what makes them maybe sad and what would really affect their emotional health is when they see themselves now segregated. And you know the Waswahili say usesi ugonjwa. So they sometimes get to a place and they are starting to fight what has happened. There is a story. This one was from Nyandarua. And there was this old woman. She was really old. And so she had the habit of asking once in a while. And then she would count her friends. Frani alienda, Frani alienda, Frani alienda, Frani alienda. Now you can imagine she was saying it in Kikuyu. Ati mimi kwani faili yangu ilipotea.
We kama wote by the way wameenda, mimi nafanya nini?
She used to wonder which angel misplaced her file. Sasa. I think create time.
Yes.
Create time. Create time with them. Activities. There is a group of the elderly somewhere in areas of Nyahururu, and there is this pastor who gathers them, I think, once every week. Not for nothing much. They come, story, fellowship, wakunywe uji, hivyo once per week.
Nice.
And you should see the joy in the faces of those old men.
I actually have seen one on TikTok of of old elderly women. Wamekuja pamoja, wanacheza the games we used to sing in nursery school.
Yes.
And you can see the joy.
You can see the joy.
Yes.
And one day a friend of mine went, and these old men had come together, and one of them is not born again. So they are hearing everybody saying, Bwana asifiwe. And now again it is in Kikuyu. So many of my stories are in Kikuyu.
Yes.
So huyu alipofikiwa, because now he cannot say Bwana asifiwe, he said Bwana asalimiwe. Now you can say he said it in Kikuyu.
Wow. Wow.
I mean,
yes.
Get them involved.
Yes.
And I think as a society, we should come up with ways of having them involved.
Yeah.
But most importantly, create time for them.
Yeah.
Hang out with them. Ni wakati wa mavuno, be there with them as they're harvesting. Ni wakati wa kupanda, enda. And you're not necessarily going just to help. You are going to spend time with them. One of the others that really used to work that is becoming a bit tricky is that sons and daughters would share children. They would get some kids to go stay at home with their parents. It's now becoming tricky because of the way life has turned, especially because of school and other things. But when holidays are here, when you can, have your kids go visit the grandmothers, hang out for a few days. Of course, being careful about all the other things that we talk about. Yes. So, for the society, I would recommend one very important thing. Give them time.
Nice.
Yes.
That is important. Kwa sababu hata tumetoka kazi, there's that shosho. Na mchape tu story, 1 hour, 30 minutes, go back home.
Yes.
You know. And that whether they leave blessings if they find such a person and wisdom,
they are very happy, and they are, by the way, wisdom is very they have, those people can talk, and they can tell you a lot of things.
That's true.
And they really appreciate when you can pass by, and sometimes even some of the things they might need are not very expensive things. Just like juicy too, the sugar has gone to about 250. Sugar used to be 100 bob.
Yeah.
And that old woman, 1 kg of sugar, akiwa peke yake, she can do a week with it. Yeah. So I look at a scenario where the community can know that one of the things that they can really give is time. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Now to the church. Mwili wa Kristo. Mwili wa Kristo. Hapo ndio story iko.
I want to be very nice because I'm part of the body.
Mtumishi. Yes.
But I also would say, just like we are saying participation in the community, I think one of the worst things a church can do is not have a place for the elderly.
Okay.
When you disfranchise them, because now they are no longer active, they might not do everything they did. When you disenfranchise them, then you cutting them off from the very lifestyle and community structure that they grew in and most probably helped build.
Yes, true.
And for the church, I think one of the most important things the church can do, like if I was a pastor today, I would want to start a fellowship for old people.
Oh, okay.
Just a fellowship for them, like that one of my friend. Once per week,
Yeah.
where they come, they spend time. But also now, involve them in the other activities. Involve them in the other activities. They might not do much, but involve them in the other activities. I remember this old woman in one of the village churches, and she used to really love young people. And when young people had meetings, she would not give money, she would not give, but she would always bring firewood.
Oh,
Give them opportunity to participate.
yeah.
Because I think one of the key things is to make them feel relevant. Don't let them feel irrelevant.
Or useless. Allow us to use that word.
Yes. Don't let them feel like that.
Yeah.
For those of us who are farming at home, you know, we always ensure our fathers are the foremen.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So that they are active.
Yeah.
So the church needs to come up with a scenario where they are able to take care of them.
Yeah.
And that would really be of help.
Okay.
Let them get involved. Let them feel useful.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Also remember in the Bible there's also a part that says the truly religion that I seek is this.
Yes.
You know, taking care of them and ensuring that their well-being is involved. Because Kasabu, if they are actually you've said something that is very important, some even helps to build, you know, to make sure that hiyo kanisa imefika hapo. Alafu sasa kwa sababu they are not participating in so many other activities, uko hao ni wazee kuna kitu wanafanya, but if it was not for them amngekuwa amefika mahali amefika. Awesome. Now
And allow them to serve. Hannah was 84 and she was still serving.
yeah. Nice.
Allow them to serve.
Yeah.
And you see, as they age, they are not interested in so many things. So even their service will be very open-hearted, clean-hearted. So allow them to serve.
Okay.
Whatever it is that they want to clean, allow them to do it. They want to, like, why wouldn't you give an old person time to pray in the service?
Yeah.
Allow them to participate. Let them preach. Allow them, because these people, you've seen them grow old. They have seen you grow up.
True.
And sometimes they might have more to offer than the digital people.
Yeah, exactly.
So allow them. Bottom line, church participation, that's number one. Number two, the old people in your congregations that have nobody to take care of, or nobody to take care of them. They have no one who can take care of them. It's the responsibility of that congregation to take care of those people.
Okay.
And I don't think that's something we need to discuss. That's something that needs to be done. Because if you can't take care of the elderly and the widows and the fatherless, then Jesus is very clear in the scriptures. Nyinyi kanisa mwitu.
Yes, hiyo ambayo alijenga juu yake.
A true religion.
Yeah. Awesome.
So church, let them get involved, and those who have no one to take care of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Da kuna hii issue ya nyimbo kanisani. We've gone so digital. Tunasahau we have elderly people around. You know?
Hapo tunaweza shindwa kuwasaidia.
Like unapata like the whole service hakuna hata mmoja wanajua like literally. Hata kamoja.
Hao nao sasa wanaona kwa darasa. They should have walked with it while it was growing.
Sasa mtu ajui hata kizungu na ndio hapo tumeimba Yahweh, you know.
Unatembea now. Don't leave them behind.
Yeah.
Don't leave them behind. Maybe I would if it's a setting where maybe it's an urban setting and you have a few who are not up to date with such.
Yeah.
Why not give them a presentation once every so often? Yes.
They get to present.
Let them
sing their own.
Their own, yes.
Okay.
Basically, find a way of having them active. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sasa taifa letu Kenya, nchi tunayoipenda sana.
For the country, I have one or two observations to make. Observation number one is that internationally we have about 18 protocols for taking care of the aged. 18
protocols?
Yes.
Okay.
Starting with the universal human rights, one that was done by the UN in 1948. By the way, there were 18 in 2014 when we did a document. This country did a document for the elderly. That was in 2014. So the first document quoted is the Universal Human Rights, that's 1948, and then Constitution of Kenya 2010. In between there are other 16 as of 2014. So, and according to our constitution then, the 17 other international charters and agreements become part of our law. That is what our constitution says. And I think in 2014, what we talked about is having the nation and the county governments enact policies. Yes. And I think the only one that has happened, maybe the others I don't know, is the stipends for the elderly. Which for me, I still don't, I'm not sure, but I don't think they are anchored in law. It is still like, it is the government that is philanthropic. So another president comes tomorrow and we might not have it. So if we would get real laws, actual policies for taking care of the elderly. That's number two. I wish we can get to a place where the government does not only enact laws, but follows through.
There's enacting and there's the following.
Because if we just have rules and nobody follows them, anything can happen. But I'm concerned about the village elder, the sub-chief, the chief. What are they doing about the elderly in their places?
Wow.
Because the village elder and the chief know if this old man has sons, if this old man has daughters, if this old man doesn't. And I think it is possible for the government to force a careless son, a careless daughter to take care of their parents.
Yes, that is true.
It is possible if there is goodwill. And I also think if you are in Nairobi and you got a call from your village elder that you are not taking care of your mother, that would wake you up.
Yes.
Because now all of a sudden you know you have nowhere to go. So I would want a close board, like starting from the village. I would want to see a bit more participation of the elders in the taking care of the elderly. Because apparently the village elders are also going to be elderly in a very few years.
And
so I think one of the things they should do is start thinking what is it that they would want done for them. And start looking at how it can get done.
Yes.
I'm looking at a time when we were younger, and it used to be interesting that young boys would gather together and go to an old person's home, help them weed, help them plant, help them harvest. And it used to be very easy.
I remember we were taught in school that is what we need to do.
Yes.
And we'll be told, go look for them. What after akina shosho, akina guka.
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
So, a bit more of proactiveness.
Okay.
Check out who are the people in your midst. Are they being taken care of? If not, what can be done? Come to the chief. If that old man living in a bad house has a son, get them called and have them do something. I remember this elderly woman who was living with one of the daughters, and the daughter had now made her the babysitter, and she was living in very deplorable conditions. And when word came, the person who wanted to go and pick them was a grandchild. So this is the auntie mistreating the grandmother. And so when he went, the auntie hid the grandmother. So it happened this guy was bright, went to the police, went to the chief actually, was given policemen. And explained the story, and apparently the chief said they had heard of the story, but they had done nothing. And so, and the conditions were very simple. The young man takes the grandmother until you repair the house. So if you want your mother back, make the conditions good for her. So I think the government can go beyond just words and nice presentations and charity. Let's go to policy. Let's get policies enacted. We can, like in some places, we can even have feeding programs for the old. Yes. Let them have a place in the village where food is being cooked and they can walk there and go meet old people, have stories, eat, and then go back home. I mean, the government needs to come up with practical solutions. Institutions are a bit tricky. I'm talking about homes for the aged and stuff like that. Because I think unless there is completely nothing else that can be done, taking your mother to an old people's home is an African. Let me start there. I haven't seen it anywhere in the Bible as well. It's very Western. And I think people take people to old people's homes because they don't want to sacrifice the time with them, or maybe because they don't have the time. I don't know. But I would rather hire someone to stay with my mom than take my mom to be taken care of elsewhere. That is me. So institution-wise, the government also needs to come with structures that we do not have a repeat of what we had the other day in one of the institutions, and maybe the silence in many others. But I think bottom line, as the Constitution says, is that they are right. They are rights for being happy, for participating in the community. They should be observed and helped. And I think the government has a very big hand to play towards that end.
Okay.
Yes.
I also believe also PSCC we have that, because it's us to push now the government, because for them to make those policies into, actualizing those policies, it takes also us.
We need to keep talking.
Yeah.
We need to keep talking. Like I think that 2014 documents need to be brought out of the shelves.
True.
Because apparently now this is my Kenya. We have very good documents, very good laws, but they are not followed.
Exactly.
That's our big problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Asante sana, Teacher Trizzah,
Karibu.
for making time. Keep the people who are out there, you can keep asking the teacher. He has a YouTube channel. That is Ask the Teacher.
It's Tr Trizzah TV.
Yes.
The playlist is Ask the
the
Teacher.
Teacher.
Yes.
Please make sure you're following that. There's so much wisdom and so many discussions, so many topics you can get right there. So fuata Tr Trizzah TV for the more knowledge. I remember we've had so many discussions actually about that, and also they are also right there
They are
for
right
YouTube channel yake. Asante sana for making time for us.
Karibu.
And I'm sure we'll have a next time, and we'll have something else.
Looking forward.
Awesome. Asante sana for you who has been watching. I hope you've gotten to learn 1, 2, 3 things. Now you know. Usiseme tu mimi sina shosho. Both my grandparents, our yuko, you have one right next door in the neighborhood. You can do something. So don't neglect them. Let's show them love. And the key point, make time for them. Make time for them. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. This is Nuru Asubuhi. Remember, we'll have Twende Jikoni at 9:30, but I'll be back to share more after this at 9:10 to share more on matters road signs. We need to know these things. It is crucial for each one of us to understand and also to know this. We take a break. We'll be back.